Hello there, and welcome to Let's Review Grim Dawn by Crate Entertainment. It's a CRPG, so like Diablo's 1 through 3, that came with the Humble Monthly Bundle this month. It's $12 a month, and this is the first game we know about that's included in it. To start off, I haven't had any problems running it, which is usually the first good sign. So let's go straight into the options. Graphically, there's a vast variety of options. You don't really need me to spec everything down, but it's very customizable and it's basically everything you could want from a graphics menu. Audio is much slimmer, it's just the separate mixing volumes, but you do get to pick your audio device, your sound driver. Gameplay wise, this is actually a lot more than you can expect from some CRPGs, so I'll give them credit. That's basically, I haven't found any options yet that I've wanted to change that I haven't had in this menu. So that's it for the menu options. Something that has been a bit of a problem is the fact that the game guide isn't actually in the game, it's an external browser. So I'm not going to show it to you, but well, I'll give that a try, shall we? Here is the tutorial menu of the game. Essentially, it's just a web browser. It does give you a lot of the background of the game and a lot of insight into what's going on, and if you look into things like character basics, it does give you the information that you desperately need. The problem is you do really need to read all of this to have any clue about, say, spending skill points, the way that they should be assigned, what you should be spending them on, the fact that you get 8 attribute points for every point you spend. I would have preferred if they had actually tutorialized this within the game as you played it. That would have been much better from my perspective, but as it is, this will have to do. If you can't stand reading a lot, then maybe this game is not for you. If you have played Titan Quest or any of the Diablos before, you might find this easier to get into without reading this. But as it stands, this is the tutorial, and it is a bit of a roadblock into getting into the game unless you're really willing to dig in and start reading. The easiest thing you could do is look up character builds and such on the internet, because their people have just basically said what you need to build. It's a lot quicker than reading all of this, but this will give you far more detailed, in-depth information into what it is you should be doing in the game. Right, back to the game, shall we? Right, here we see that in creating a character, you really only have 2 options, basically male or female. There's no very specific facial customization. You basically get the male face or the female face, and that's about it. Luckily, as you can see with this hat, you probably won't be seeing that an awful lot, so it doesn't really matter. You can go hardcore if you're that way inclined, but that's not the kind of character that I've been interested in playing personally. Moving on, let's click to get into the game as it is, shall we? Most of the character customization is done in the game via leveling. So when we go into here, you can see that you select a class as a primary class, and you can select a class as a secondary class. There's several different classes, and within each class you add points to the base of that class to get further into the class, and then you add points into each skill that you want to pick up within that class so that you can get further along and do more powerful things. The points that you spend within the class are basically you choosing how far you go into a class. If you played D&D, for example, if you played, say, 2 levels wizard and then 6 levels barbarian, that would be similar to how many points you put into one of these classes and then one of your multi-classes. There is also devotion points, which baffles me far beyond anything else, because there is such a wide area of points you can potentially spend, but at the same time there's literally no tutorialization to say where you should go. That the only hints are that each quality that you can spend points on has a flavor text. So the quantity of Eldritch affinity you have harnessed. Eldritch beings represent the wild forces of magic and the metaphysical realms beyond the veil. That really doesn't help at all, telling you what those points are going to be going into, and considering the points end up with things such as Spirit and Cunning, which you can get basically on any of the trees, or damage of certain types. There is nothing really to delineate these separate, so I've just literally started spending points randomly in one tree and hoped for the best. But I'm sure there are tutorials online that are much clearer with these, that if you got into the game seriously, more deeply than I have, then you'll probably enjoy this level of customization. Right, so that's how you customize your character for effect. You can also customize your character for look via the equipment you pick up, very similar to the Diablo or any of those other games type of way of doing things. The gear colour represents its quality, same as Diablo. So I mean, you're getting the idea that if you've played a CRPG before, you'll have some idea of it. If not, you are going to have to read quite long tutorials. The controls are fairly simple. Basically, you can do most things on the mouse except for activating these skills along the bottom that are much easier. You can click them with the mouse, but it's easier to be able to press a button and have them activate that way. Main way of doing anything in the game is teleporting about and then twatting things with your sword. I mean, it's as simple and straightforward as anything else in any CRPG. If you played one, you know what's coming up. So here we go. Enemies, there's a battle breaking out, and I can fire my magic missiles at them and break them up. I've got a little pet here that sometimes turns up when it feels like it to smash some face. So I mean, what I hate to say, but what is terribly true about this is it's quite generic. The art style, they've gone very heavily for the sort of grim dark style, but at the same time I think they've overshot it a bit, and it's come off very, oh look, isn't everything awful, sort of generic. I think Fallout 4 and 3 sort of avoided that trap very carefully, trying not to turn into just another generic nuclear apocalypse, although that's what they in essence were. But this game has sort of fallen into that trap a bit worse, in that it feels quite generic to play. This is, would I say it's fun? I think I would need to play it for a lot longer to gauge how much fun there is to be had in this game. It's interesting to be able to kill some of the harder to kill enemies, but beyond that challenge, I've not actually met anything that can really withstand just my very standard magic bolt so far, so it's not seemed that challenging, and usually I associate challenge with entertainment and fun factor, but it may vary for you. Maybe I should turn the difficulty up, maybe you'll turn the difficulty up and have a more fun time with it. That's entirely up to you. Longevity, well, as I understand it, there are 60 plus levels and I'm only hitting level, let's have a look at my character sheet, level 18, so there's quite a lot left to go that I could be doing. The map certainly shows, or if I go to the main map, there's a lot more areas to explore than I've got anywhere close to, and that's not including the fact that there is DLC available. So I would say that is a good sign for longevity. However, that just depends on how long you're going to be willing to put into this game, knowing how much you have to learn about it. What would I say about the graphics? Well, as you can see, if you look at what you're seeing right here, they are quite beautiful. I'm running this at 144 Hz, so I apologise for any stuttering between the quick sync recording and the 144 Hz of the game. I mean, it shouldn't really, but I have had problems with that in the past. I'd say I like the style. It fits the grimdark theme, even if I feel a bit wearied by the number of grimdark games that have just replaced the quality of sense a sense of plot. They've just replaced it with, oh look, everything's gone to shit, now it's time to just try and save the world. It's fairly boring in my opinion. I mean, I'm enjoying the gameplay as it is, but the whole theme is a bit stagnant. It does fit the theme though, the graphics do fit the theme, so it's not something that I think anyone's going to disagree with. The whole it's visually as grim and as dark as the game plays, and it's extremely pretty for what you need it for. It's just that I personally am wearied of the whole, oh, everything's sad and grim and dark and the end of the world has happened again. I mean, even Titan Quest didn't resort to that, but then again, Titan Quest was a previous game, so maybe they wanted to move on to something completely different. Who knows? Music and sound effects, I find the music incredibly repetitive. I don't know if you can hear it now, but it uses the same strains over and over of music that really get on my nerves. What I've done is resort to putting on music in the background and turning the music of the game down when I play. So I mean, that's not a grand endorsement for it. It does sort of fit the game style though, this sort of dread and overarching doom sound, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure I would recommend it for that. It's not a soundtrack like Enter the Gungeon that I would buy and have on my phone just to listen to it because it's so good. It's something that I literally turn off in order to not have to listen to it anymore. Again, I'm sorry if I'm stuttering my way through this review a bit. This is me on the lowest dose of meds that they're willing to give me, so yeah, apologies for that. But finishing up, would I recommend this game? If you like CRPGs and if you're willing to get into the in-depthness of reading those tutorials and reading the online character building guides, then yes, it's a beautiful game for what it is, even if the theme is generic grimdark. It fits the type of game it is. CRPGs do well with something like, oh shit, everything's gone to hell, which is probably why they chose it, even if it's a bit played out, as I said. So yes, if you are into CRPGs and are willing to put in the time to work out how to build a character, yes, I would recommend it. If you just want to dive into something, then, you know, go play Diablo 3. Diablo 3 has it's made significant quality of life changes that I actually prefer to this game. For example, being able to restat in that game at any time, change your skills, change your spec, see how different things work, rather than in this game you have to restat, you have to go back to town and spend money having the lady redo your stats. And that's only as far as I can tell for the magic. I don't know if there is an ability to restat your character stats, these physique, cunning and spirit, although then again I'm not sure how important they are because I haven't got that far in the game. I would like to use these weapons and such, but I haven't actually got the levels for them yet, so we'll find that out later, I guess. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, please leave a like and leave comments down below to let me know what you thought, and I hope to see you next time.